state. I'm here in Minneapolis, but as you guys know, I represent clients in all 50 states. My name is, for my TikTok viewers who are new, I am your fierce and fabulous attorney, Kiki James Skillman. And basically what I do is I get green cards for immigrant spouses in good and bad marriages. Literally, that is what I do. So if you're in a marriage to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, and it's going good, like mine was and is, even though sometimes he gets my nerves, you can get your green card through your spouse. Okay, Bloomington. Wait, Bloomington, where? Because we have a Bloomington, Minnesota, but I think there's a Bloomington in Indianapolis, I believe. Okay, so anyway, but if you happen to be in a marriage that is just not working out, you are being controlled, you're being abused, you're being manipulated, you're being physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, psychologically, mentally, just really bad for your mental health, we can still get your green card. Okay, we can still get your green card because the way someone chooses to treat you cannot determine your legal status and you meeting your full potential here in the United States. It just doesn't work that way. So today I'm going to talk about your green card through your spouse when things are all good, how I got mine, basically. And then we're going to talk about still getting your green card when things are really not going well. Okay. DACA, I don't do DACA. So right now there's an injunction in DACA. They're not processing any DACAs right now. We were taking cases and doing renewals and we're doing applications, new applications, but not right now. Renewals though, yes, they're still doing renewals. The DACA case law keeps moving back and forth. But yeah, send them to me. I'll review their case and see if we can assist them. But anyway, so guys, when you're married to a United States citizen, let's focus on U.S. citizens for today, and you are in the United States, let me tell you how you qualify to get your green card in the U.S. If you entered with inspection, meaning you entered the U.S. legally, right? You entered, at a border or at an airport, you had either a visa stamp, you had a parole, you were paroled in, you were waved through, and you're inside the United States. Even when you fall out of status, you can still adjust your status when you're married to a United States citizen, as long as you entered legally. If you entered the United States without inspection, meaning you crossed the border, you were not inspected, you were not waved through, you were not paroled in, you are not able to adjust your status inside the United States unless you meet some certain exceptions, something called 245I, or you're petitioning through some sort of humanitarian parole. The ones we do a lot in our office are VAWA. Now, when you are in a situation where your spouse is abusive, right? And you're currently married, or let's say you're even separated, or let's say you're even divorced within 2 years, you can still get your green card by self-petitioning on your own without the help of your spouse, without their knowledge, without their permission, without their assistance, without anything. And this is through the Violence Against Women Act provision. What it does is it gives you the option to be able to get your work permit, your social security number, a travel document while your application is pending. What a lot of people don't know is that your U.S. citizen green card holder spouse does not control your destiny in the United States. So let's talk, what does that mean? The cases that I see, when they come to me, I hear, oh, my husband told me they're not going to file. They told me they're going to call immigration. They told me they're going to report me. They're going to tell USCIS that I paid them to get a green card. They're going to withdraw the application. They don't get to control that, because the U.S. government has determined that when you have an immigrant and a non-immigrant, an immigrant and a U.S. citizen or green card holder, the power dynamic is not even, it is shifted. So one person knows that they have the ability to give this other person a great benefit. I mean, if you're in the U.S. and you don't have permanent residency and you can't work, being here is you can't exist, right? You're in the shadows. And so when they recognize that, that's why we have this option for you to self-petition on your own. So the question is, who qualifies for this self-petition and how does the process work? And guys, as I'm running on and I'm rambling on, please put your questions in the box and I'll be happy to answer them. So who qualifies? So one, spouses of U.S. citizens or green card holders. And that's another misconception. Everyone thinks that, some people think that your spouse has to be a U.S. citizen. That's not true. Green card holder spouses. And here's one benefit for green card holder spouses that doesn't happen in a classic marriage-based green card. When you enter the U.S. as a green card holder, when you enter the U.S. and you marry a green card holder, you have to be in current legal status on the day that you file for your adjustment. So if you're here as a visitor or you're here as a student, you can't be out of status when they file for you. You have to be in current status. With VAWA, it doesn't matter, right? You could have been out of status, out of student status, your B1, B2 could have expired. You can still qualify to petition under VAWA if your spouse is a green card holder. Guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the box. Otherwise, you're just going to hear the sound of my voice, which I hope you don't have a problem with that. TikTok, if you guys have any questions, I'm still trying to figure out how to work TikTok. But please go ahead and put your questions in the box. Likewise, Instagram. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but okay. So if you are, again, if you're here as a visitor, as a student, you have current legal status. If you're married and you're going the marriage route, but for VAWA, it doesn't matter. You have to show that you've lived with this person at some point. A recent policy guidance just came out and said, living with the spouse could have happened at any time, not necessarily after you were legally married. So if you guys were dating, hanging out, whatever, doing whatever, you can still meet that requirement as long as we show that you live together. A lot of people say, how long should we live together? I don't know. I have a case right now where they lived together for 2 days. 2 days later, the spouse became very, very violent, and my client, a man, had to leave. We'll talk about the whole gender and how VAWA applies to men also, not just women. So this client had lived with his wife for 2 days. It was 2 days. And on day 2, he had to flee. We're filing his VAWA. You have to show that your marriage is real, right? Your marriage is bona fide. Your marriage is legitimate. And that can be really difficult in cases where, again, the power dynamic is shifted, right? One person is in charge of everything. I'm talking the bills, the lease, finances, making decisions, the children. And so my clients who are the victims of the domestic violence, which, by the way, domestic violence also means emotional, psychological, and all that, not just physical. And so it's hard to show that. This is where a lot of times when I see cases that have been filed by attorneys who don't know what the hell they're doing, because there's a whole lot of them out there, or clients filing on their own, they're getting RFEs and notices of intent to deny, saying you have not shown that your marriage is bona fide. And what we do at the very outset is we lay the foundation. We don't have any proof of a bona fide marriage because this was part of the abuse. Literally, my client is not on any joint accounts. They're not on any credit cards. There are no photos together. They didn't go out on dates because my client was isolated, was taken out of decision-making, everything. We don't have anything. So this is what we got. And it's credible because my client is credible, and you're just going to have to make a decision based on what we submitted. Okay, there's a question on TikTok. Let me answer that, and then I'll come over to Instagram. 1 second. A friend of mine is trying to get over here for work. Immigration refusing, overqualified. Oh, I'm not sure what your friend is trying to get here, under what kind of visa. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a work visa, possibly. I don't do any employment-based immigration. I only do family-based immigration. So back to Instagram. Is this for VAWA? And I called your office and I called it. Yes, our office is open 24/7. At least the call answering is open 24/7. So feel free to give us a call again. I'm talking about VAWA cases. That's what I've been practicing. I've been doing VAWA cases, you guys, for the last 12 years. I will never forget my first client that walked into my office. He had come here he was here as a fiance. He had gotten married, and the wife had been so abusive, and we were able to get him his green card through VAWA. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry. I need to send an email really quick. Okay. All right. There you go. We got to multitask, right? Like, there are a lot of things going on right now. The world just doesn't stop because I'm on live. All right. So this is for VAWA. So when it comes to, again, kind of the topic of today is, getting your green card, good marriage, bad marriage, you still deserve a life in this country where You can have your freedom. You can have your liberty. You're able to chart your life on your own terms. You're able to make decisions that will be beneficial for you. And there's no one standing in the way simply because of a green card. Like, how is it that a green card all of a sudden determines what your life is going to be like? And that's why VAWA is truly a life-changing option for so many immigrants in this country who are so deserving, who are so brilliant, who are so smart, who have so much potential, but there is someone who has decided that they will control and they have the power. And real talk, they have no power. Okay. But the first thing you need to do is you need to book a consultation with me. Call my office, 612-453-2691. Let's take a look at your case. You should never have to walk on eggshells. You should never have to seek someone's permission to be who you are. Because you're so worried about being deported, having immigration called on you, or being, having them threaten that they'll tell immigration that you paid them for a green card. Well, that's not true, right? They can't blackmail you like that. I mean, that's not true. I mean, we have cases where the immigrant, the U.S. citizen green card holder spouse will demand money from our clients. I mean, I'm talking down payments on homes, fancy vacations, to buy a nice car. And the way they justify it is by saying, well, I'm the reason why you're working. I'm the reason why you're still here. So technically, you owe me this $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. My clients have basically become some sort of like, modern day slavery, essentially, like working for these U.S. citizens green card holders. Okay, let's talk about how powerful a declaration is. Okay, a declaration is, in my opinion, the most powerful piece of evidence, because the standard in VAWA cases is any credible evidence, right? So they have to look at whatever we give them, but what we give them they have to believe it. It has to be credible. What makes a declaration powerful is detail. You gotta detail. You have to chronicle your life. I always say, from the first day he or she slid in your DM, right? Talk about how you met this person, what your initial feelings were, your journey, how you fell in love, how you knew this was the right one, how they treated you, how you treated them, how they made you feel. And then you got to talk about how things started falling apart. So now the honeymoon phase is over, the, random bouquets of flowers at work, the cute little notes, the opening the car doors, or car door, whatever. The surprise vacations, like pack up your bag, we're going to Paris. These are cases that I have. Pack your big bag, we're going to Paris, we're going to Bali. And then literally within months, this person completely flips on you. They're a completely different person. You're just like, wait a minute, what? Who are you? What happened? And they start with you're not worthy. You don't deserve me. You don't treat me good. The gaslighting. When they've harmed you emotionally, psychologically, even physically, sexually, then they turn the tables and make you feel like you're the one that's been abusive. And then next thing you know, you're apologizing, right? So yesterday we had an amazing licensed therapist on Instagram Live, and she talked about the emotional and psychological abuse and the power control, the power dynamic and control, which is so powerful because a lot of times people don't even realize what's going on. Okay, guys. Let me know what your questions are. I mean, if you're on this live, that means you have a question, right? Good morning, TikTok. So today we're talking about, essentially what I do is I get green cards for spouses and immigrant spouses in good and bad marriages. Like, in a nutshell, that's literally what I do. I really enjoy the marriage green cards where things are good. It's like fairy tale, it's super cute. I have a lot of gorgeous, super cute couples, guys. I mean, I look at their photos and I'm like, oh my God, you could be like a model. So cute, so handsome, so cute. And then I also deal with the other side where my clients are fighting for their lives. They are in shelters. they are being threatened, their spouse are threatening to kill them. They have had suicidal thoughts. Guys, trigger warning. I deal with some really heavy stuff. I really do. I really do. Attempted drownings, stab wounds, all this. These are all part of the things that we have to handle in our office when our clients are seeking adjustment of status through the VAWA petition, the VAWA self-petition. So let me just talk about some of some tips and some of what goes into processing these VAWA cases. 1, make sure that your application is completed properly and thoroughly. The I-360 is very complicated for someone who does not really understand a lot about immigration filings, because it's a form that's used for like 3 or 4 different reliefs, a whole bunch of different things like SIJ, widow petition, and religious worker, a lot of stuff. I only use it for VAWA because that's what I do. But make sure you're filling and you're signing the right places. Make sure that your forms are updated. The addition dates are current. Make sure you keep a copy if you decide to do this on your own, which I do not advise. 0 recommend, 0 stars. No one should be filing a VAWA petition on your own because there's just too much at stake. There's too much at stake. If you qualify for adjustment of status, make sure you're submitting that application as well so you can get your work permit and your travel document. I'm currently working on a case where, and this is why we always have to do a FOIA. Let me tell you something. If you're calling my office and you've had many applications before, better believe it is a requirement that we request your previous file from USCIS, because the things that we are discovering in these previous applications determine whether or not we're going to put you in Front Street and submit an application for adjustment. And then next thing you know, you're in deportation. We're not going to have that on our head. So we need to do a proper analysis. So here's a question. Do you walk your clients through on how to properly file out? What's your, Regina, that is a very, very good and powerful question. We don't walk anyone through filling out an application. No, because we're not a form filling service. We are an attorney's, a law office, right? I'm a licensed attorney with 12 years of experience. If you want to find a form filler, there are tons of people who do that. Immigration is more than forms. It requires a thorough and proper legal analysis. So if you're looking to fill out forms, we're not the one for you. When you hire us, we handle your entire process from start to finish. Okay? All you do is you bring us the evidence. And you bring us what we ask for. I am the attorney. I do the legal analysis. I have a team of paralegals and legal assistants that process the data on the forms. That's just one part. That's just filling out data. The actual proving that you qualify for the actual benefit requires legal analysis that your tax guy don't know, that your little notario don't know, okay? And some of your immigration attorneys out here don't know that either, because immigration law is so complicated that there's certain areas that really require expertise and experience. And VAWA is what I do, Violence Against Women Act. I do T visas, I do U visas, and of course, I love my marriage green cards with my super hot and cute couples. Hot and cute. Look, we are the home of the hot and cute couples, okay? Super cute. Okay, can I still file for a green card after divorce? Yes, if you qualify under the VAWA, Violence Against Women. It depends on how long you've been divorced. If you've been divorced for more than 2 years, you no longer would be able to do the VAWA through USCIS. However, if you were put in removal proceedings, you can possibly do VAWA cancellation. So style by HOD, let's do a consultation. Let's see what's going on in your case and what you potentially qualify for. Oh no, have you been divorced more than 2 years? I don't know. Let's do a consultation. All right, let's see here. Let's see what's going on TikTok. All right, TikTok is jumping. Do you have any questions on Facebook? No. Okay. So again, that declaration has to be powerful. Also, a lot of people don't know. I was so stupid not to report when I was abused. Right, you don't have to report it though. That's okay. Why don't you send me a DM? Let's do a consultation. If you've been divorced for less than 2 years, we may still be able to get your application in. Can a current marriage green card beneficiary remarry an ex-spouse if the current? You can marry whoever you want. Now, I will tell you this. If you got your green card through your spouse, I don't know if I don't know who the ex-spouse is that you want to remarry, but yeah, a lot going on. Okay, you can marry whoever you want. The next question is if you're trying to like give the ex-spouse an immigration benefit, we may need to have a conversation, Mamsie. Okay, we need to have a conversation. But yeah, I mean, you can marry whoever you want. Yeah, I guess you can. Whoever you want. So, all right, guys, I'm going to open this up to questions. And, I have my notes here. We can touch on some other things. Let's talk about children. So here's a question I got. My husband abused my child, his stepchild. What can we do? Right? So in a case like this, as long as the stepchild, their marriage happened before the stepchild turned 18, that stepchild is considered your husband's child under immigration law. So that stepchild would qualify under VAWA. Not only that, as the mother, or as the mother of this child, you are also able to petition for you and your child because you are the mother. So again, the question is, my husband abused my stepchild. What can we do? And I'm guessing this husband has not filed for this. We're assuming that this husband hasn't filed for the stepchild, hasn't filed for anyone. You can go ahead and the stepchild, as long as the marriage that created the stepchild, step-parent relationship happened before the stepchild was 18, this stepchild is a child under immigration law, under 21, unmarried. Okay. Another question we got. Y'all get used to seeing this yellow notepad because I'm going to be using it a lot because I put a lot of notes in here. And it's really good information that we just cannot afford not to, share. My abuser lost his status. What can I do? So if your abuser lost their status and it was related to any form of like domestic violence, you can still petition for VAWA within 2 years of losing that status. This applies to LPR. This applies to U.S. citizens. If you divorce, as I was kind of telling someone earlier, you can still petition for VAWA as long as you're within 2 years of divorce. So if you got divorced, oh, thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, I love green is one of my favorite colors. I love green. Thank you. As long as you're within 2 years of divorce, you can still petition for VAWA. Now, this is the one when it comes to death, right? If your spouse dies and your spouse was only a green card holder, unfortunately, it is a little bit more difficult. But if your spouse is a U.S. citizen and your spouse passes, you're still able to petition for VAWA if your spouse is abusive within 2 years of their passing. Okay? Okay. So another question, and this is really, really powerful and really important because a lot of my clients run into this. Okay, what if I don't have any evidence of abuse? How can I prove abuse? That is a very, very important and powerful question. As a matter of fact, it is on here, but it was like a couple pages. So here, how do you prove abuse? Well, what's the abuse? Was it physical or was it emotional, psychological? If it was emotional, psychological, there could have been text messages. Are there any text messages? Are there any emails? Is there anyone that you talked to about what was going on? They can write an affidavit. But the ultimate key area where you really talk about your abuse is your declaration. I mean, this is where we spend a lot of time with our clients and we walk them through holding their hand to make sure we craft a powerful, compelling, and persuasive detail, of what happened. You have to talk about how this person made you feel and how the abuse has affected you in your declaration. Remember, the standard is any credible evidence. So your declaration has to be credible. Okay? Because if that's all they have as your abuse, proof of abuse, it has to be credible. So it has to be consistent. Things have to match up. Whatever you say has to be consistent with what your friends say or what you had said before. Your declaration is very powerful. So that's a really good question. Okay. Because, you know, a lot of people have a hard time showing abuse, particularly when there's no physical, right? So if there's physical, obviously there are photos and things like that, or a medical report or a police report, which by the way, you do not need, but if you have it, we'll take it. All the other forms, the mental, the manipulation, how you, the depression, the anxiety, the loss of interest in activities, all that stuff is really hard to document. And so the only way you document it is by telling your story. We also do psychological assessments, but a lot of times it may be a hardship for our clients because you have to pay for that. So what we do is we just say, let's do the declaration, and we can always supplement later. All right, good morning, everyone. We're talking about green cards in good marriages and bad marriages, because you know what? Your future and your destiny in this country should not be in the hands or be determined by someone else who decides that they want to control you, they want to dehumanize you, they want to make you feel that you're less than deserving of what you truly, truly are deserving of. Okay. So another struggle, having done this for 12 years, you guys, this is what I see a lot. My clients are not able to get access to documents. So we have to show that your abuser is a U.S. citizen or green card holder. Well, a lot of times, based on the dynamic, our clients don't have access to anything. So here's how you can prove your spouse's status. Say you don't have like a birth certificate, unexpired U.S. passport, naturalization certificate, any of those, right? LPR card. This is what we've done in the past. Voting records, right? So we look up like wherever county the person lives in and see if they voted. If they voted, they're a U.S. citizen. And if they're not a U.S. citizen and they voted, then that's a problem. We've used, if they had previously filed an I-130 petition for our client, and our client was really quick thinking and they saved a copy of that, we submit that, because in the I-130 petition receipt notice, it'll tell you the category under which the petitioner filed. So it'll say spouse of a USC, spouse of an LPR, right? These are immigration records. We've used like social security numbers. Y'all, I have used pay stubs. I've used, plates, car driver's license tags, plates, addresses, where they worked, and tell USCIS, you know what, this is what we have. Go and figure it out. I mean, y'all got the dirt in everybody, right? So this is this person's name, first name, last name, parents' name. This is where they were born. This is where they work. This is their license plate, their tag number. This is the last four of their social. We get really creative and we just give them what we have. We also have our clients actually talk about how they know that their spouse is a U.S. citizen or green card holder in their declaration. So we've had clients say something like, well, I know my spouse is a U.S. citizen because I saw his passport. I saw his passport on this date. It was here. He showed it to me. I know he's a U.S. citizen because he was born in the United States. His mother told me. I know that he was born in Kentucky. We discussed it. Things like that. I know he's a green card holder because I know that he came here XYZ years ago with his mother and his father, and they filed for him, the details. And then, we just do a catch-all with USCIS and tell them, there's actually a part in the statute that says they can go and they can figure it out. All right. So I hope that answers that question, if anyone had that. So let's see what else we got. Another question is here. Oh, so we get some clients who married to a U.S. citizen green card holder. Turns out the spouse was in like multiple marriages, like, polygamous, all that stuff, right? And that is not considered a legal marriage in the United States if the person you're married to, it has more than one person. However, there's a category under VAWA where these people are called intended spouses, right? As long as you can show that, one, you did not know that your spouse was married to many other bays, hey, do what you do, but there are certain things that are not legal in the United States and will create roadblocks for you. If you as the victim can show that you intended to marry this person, you had no idea they were in multiple different marriages, you actually had a wedding ceremony, right? You had a ceremony, and you can prove that in this union that you felt you had on your own, you had bona fides of the marriage. So, you know, whatever you were able to get together during the time that you were married, even though he had many other spouses in his home country, in his village, wherever he was, you would still meet that element of spouse and being married, even though it is contrary to public policy in the United States to be married to more than one person. I mean, I don't know, there are people who still do it, but those people are US citizens or whatever, green card holders or what, I don't know. But if you're trying to get a green card, you need to be married to one person. Okay. All right, guys. Well, you know what? It's been 30 minutes. I'll take a few last questions if there are any. If not, go follow us on YouTube. Go follow us on Facebook. Go follow us on TikTok, right? And if you have any questions, send me a DM. What I do is I put all these questions in here in this yellow notepad, and I answer them. I read the questions and I answer them on the lives. That way I get to address everyone's concerns. I will say this and then I'll get off. Immigration law right now is kind of like, things can change. Things are moving. If you have a case and you need to file, I would give it the urgency it deserves. Hire whoever you want, but you need to at least book a consultation, have a conversation, and see what your true options are. Don't end up in a situation where you're trying to file on your own and you don't know what the hell you're doing, because it's a whole lot of y'all out there who don't know what the hell you're doing, but y'all trying to save some money. But y'all be out there in Tulum, in Bali, wherever, vacationing, when the priority really needs to be your immigration matter and investing in that, because it's really your life and your future. Okay? So before you buy that bag and you book the trip, you know that there are all these reels about book the vacation. No, book the consultation. Book the consultation. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys on here again tomorrow. Until then, I will